It's time for our community spotlight, and today with me is United Way of Logan County's Dave Vizusco. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Angie, how are you today?
Fantastic, as always, Dave, as
Yeah,
always.
absolutely. Wilkinson joining us from Green Hills Community and Universal Home Health and Hospice. And going to talk today about the programming that takes place at Universal on a couple of fronts. And, when you think about the Universal Home Health and Hospice, you can almost bookend life in some ways. The home health and hospice care for folks that are near the end of their earth journey, but then also Camp Braveheart, which we'll start with. Anita, one of the most beloved programs in our community, supported by United Way and run by your organization, and the great work that takes place at Grief Camp for Children.
It is. And what I love about it is it's a typical camp. They do all the fun things at Marmon Valley, like ride horses and climb walls and go out on canoes, but they also have specific programming for the kids to help them see that they're not alone in their grief and help them find ways to deal with the grief. Because often children, we don't know what they're thinking, and so it's great for there are counselors that know how to deal with this that are at the camp. And I love this story from a couple of years ago. There was a young girl, they were twins actually, that came, and they had lost their dad at a very young age, and they came and their mom was with them and she didn't want to leave them, but finally she felt comfortable doing it. And the first day they stayed together and didn't do anything. And then the second day they kind of went in their own groups. And by the final day of camp, the little girl was like, "Come on, friends, follow me," and was kind of the leader of their group. And it was so cool to see. But the best part was when I talked to her mom, at that time we used to do a balloon launch. And I talked to her after the balloon launch, and she said that she tried to meet all of her kids' needs, and she didn't know what those were until the last night of camp, or the night before the last night of camp. Her daughter crawled up on her lap and said, "Are you going to get us a new daddy? Because I'm not ready for a new daddy." That's what she was worried about. And she had never shared that with her mom. And her mom was just, and we're both crying because now she knows where her fear is because of the camp, and was able to talk to her honestly about maybe someday down the road, but I'm not ready to give you a new daddy yet either. And it opened a whole conversation. So, and that's just one of many stories from the camp.
The pain of separation at death is hard for survivors any time of life, but particularly for children who've never been in that situation, not experienced it. And when you experience it so close to home, like in your immediate family, that is a traumatic experience. So Camp Braveheart specifically, especially this year, for children in our community who have lost a near and dear loved one really within the last year.
So in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. And so this is very real. It does impact folks on a regular basis. And so the camp takes place in June, early June. And like you said, at Marmon Valley Farms. And what a great opportunity that is. Unfortunately, it's already packed. It's full. You're booked for the year. So, but there are opportunities for, folks to, get that help with Universal Home Health and Hospice, too, for folks that are, of course, still with us, but approaching the end of the earthly journey. So if you could talk a little bit about, just kind of the services Universal provides, and especially what that's been like this last year through COVID.
Oh, it's been very interesting the last few years. And, you said earlier, Dave, that, we bookend life, but we actually have children on home health and hospice.
Do we really?
So not a lot, but occasionally we do get those. So we truly do meet every age of life. Certainly most of our patients for home health and hospice are elders that are 60 or over, but we do have, every year we have some in every age group. So we do hit all of that, but this year has been extraordinarily difficult. We were, at least at one time, Universal Home Health and Hospice was the only home health agency that was taking on COVID patients. So the hospitals were calling whenever they had a COVID patient going home, they were calling Universal. I am so glad that we were able to meet those needs. With staffing the way it is across the United States, sometimes that's difficult, but we were able to, because we have Green Hills and we have Universal, we are able to support each other. And so it's been a blessing to be able to meet the needs of the community when they have them.
And the usage of home health and hospice care up about 50% within
Yes.
the last year.
Yes.
So just kudos to everyone at Universal for the work you guys continue to do. United Way support is to the tune of $40,000 a year.
Yes.
With Universal, and it does support both camps like Camp Braveheart, but also that in-home healthcare for patients and their families who can't afford or whose insurance don't cover this.
Exactly. And you would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be, but it is always surprising to me the medications that insurance or Medicare won't cover. And we never turn a patient away because of whatever their financial status is, because that's the whole point of hospice. So we are able to care for patients in the last season of their life, regardless of what kind of financial situation they're in. And that is because the United Way is so very generous in giving us those dollars. Before COVID, sometimes we would even be able to use those dollars for things like special trips and things like that. We haven't done that for well over a year, but the United Way offers us opportunities with those in the end of their life that we wouldn't have if we didn't have the support of the United Way.
When you think about the importance of being surrounded by family at home, just that comfort level, and death is a natural part of life. It's going to happen, and the staff does such an incredible job. We hear all the time from folks who have used the service just what a blessing it has been to have these hospice nurses and staff in our lives at this juncture, and to not just help with some of the practical things that take place around the house at this point, but also just to be there, to listen, and to become really a part of the family, which truly does happen.
They do. And one of the great things about it is the family can just be the family.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about the care of the more difficult care of the patient, because the universal nurse will come in and do that. And so it allows them to just be together as a family. And you're right, these nurses love their patients, and it's truly got to be a calling from God, because I don't know how you could do it any other way. And they become attached, but God has given them the ability to become attached and still give that love to the next person. And it is amazing to watch, but wow, it is certainly a gift.
I have actually heard some people say that it's just such a blessing to be able to escort them into heaven. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I would have thought it would have
Yeah.
been harder than that.
Well, I think it is for your average person, but they truly are. I mean, they are amazing men and women that choose to take that on. They are just wonderful at what they do.
It is a calling, a ministry, and there is
Yeah.
a spiritual component too,
There
if
is.
a patient wants it with universal hospice care.
Yes.
So Universal Home Health and Hospice, a part of the Green Hills community family, and overall Green Hills community receiving with Universal about $50,000 this year in United Way support for the programming that takes place. So 40,000 to Universal and 10,000 more over at Green Hills. And so much incredible work, Andy, that these folks have done through the trials and tribulations of this past year, and it's been incredible.
It has been a year.
Lots of shifting, I know, because I've talked to Nita. Lots of shifting over the years, and keep doing what you're doing, because they need you.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming in, Nita. Before we head off, Dave, do you got anything that we can talk about United Way wise?
I
moving
do.
you in?
Yeah, and one of the things I was hopeful to touch base about today, Angie, is a new opportunity that we have here within United Way. We have been approved, United Way of Logan County, as an AmeriCorps Vista host site for the coming year with Think Tank out of Springfield, which means that we are hiring. We have an opening right now with United Way for a year of service opportunity through the AmeriCorps Vista program, which if you think about the Peace Corps and what a Peace Corps volunteer might do overseas, the AmeriCorps Vista program is the domestic equivalent. And the idea being that, we're looking for someone who feels called to perform a year of service, really volunteer service with United Way. It's a 40-hour-a-week position. And the opportunity is there to gain insights into the inner workings of a nonprofit organization and gain experience with event marketing, uh, event planning, and also some fundraising activities. And is a unique opportunity that does include living expenses, relocation if need be, and at the end of the project next summer, a stipend and or tuition reimbursement credits. So an opportunity
Wow.
for someone who maybe is transitioning into trying to get into the nonprofit world through college and trying to get into this field, or perhaps someone who is transitioning back into the workplace in the middle portion of their life, or perhaps someone who's on that edge of retirement and thinking, well, I'm not ready to, not do nothing yet. This could be a good role. And so if you know someone, maybe that someone's you, watching the podcast, an opportunity. Check us out at uwlogan.org, uwlogan.org. You can find out all that information and details about the AmeriCorps Vista Year of Service opportunity with United Way.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you guys for coming on today with me and helping me with the community spotlight. Until next month, Dave, we'll be bringing back another guest. Anita, thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me.